and welcome back to Aris Executive Search Podcast. This is Kacey Toews, Associate Recruiter here at Aris, and we're back for another episode of our Industry Uncovered series, where we dive into the world of ag tech with various industry leaders. Today, we have special guest Natalie Kovarik, who is no stranger to the podcast world. So, Natalie, thank you so much for joining us today. And can you start by telling us just a little bit about your operation?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me too. It's always exciting to get onto other podcasts and have, long form conversations and chat. So my husband and I ranch in central Nebraska. We're kind of in an area, if you're familiar with our state, that's known as the Nebraska Sandhills. So it is a very beautiful part of the country, which I actually grew up in Montana. So I am fortunate that I was able to move to a part of Nebraska that does have some terrain and, geographical changes that isn't completely flat like most people think our state is. Our operation here is a beef cattle ranch. So I like to say the heart of our operation, like where my husband and I started, was with a commercial cow calf operation. And then obviously, just over time, we have kind of grown and diversified our operation a little bit. So our latest endeavor is really focusing and growing our registered herd. We have a Black Angus operation. We're actually hosting our first in-person bull sale this month. So very exciting things going on here in our operation.
That's awesome. Congratulations on the bull sale. I know that's really exciting for your family. And, diversification is super important in our industry and as well as technology. So, just thinking about as technology continues to evolve, what notable advancements have had a significant impact on your organization?
Yeah, so that's a really great question. I agree. I think, technology plays such an important role in, every single industry. I like to say that, especially when it comes to agriculture, we're just in a very exciting time. There's a quote I heard once when I was at a conference where a fellow speaker had said, "Never before have we moved this fast, and never before will we move this slow again." And I really feel like that is kind of agriculture. We're just moving, I feel like, and progressing, and it's a very exciting thing to be a part of. As far as here on our operation, how we use technology, we are, as I mentioned just a few seconds ago, focused more on cattle and livestock than we are on farming. And I do think there are, some really exciting things going on the farming side of agriculture with just like GPS and things they're doing with tractors that maybe we aren't seeing here on like the ranching side when you're dealing, strictly with livestock. This is kind of a little plug for a company. um, we use Performance Beef, which has been a very exciting technological advance for us. It's a really great platform. We use it for our feeding software. And my husband will say that he absolutely, could not feed anymore without it. Like it's just made that much of a difference. That's, specific to our operation. I think if you pan out and just kind of think about our industry as a whole, I would say one of the things that's probably been like, I guess maybe one of the bigger contributions from a technology standpoint has been like the role of genomics. I think that has like really sped up the advancement we are able to do as ranchers and farmers, and just like the understanding, what used to take like years of like tracking numbers and data, we can almost do immediately. And so I do think that, as genomics evolve, it can be pretty exciting for thinking about like what the future of the industry holds too.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you even think back, even 5 years or 10 years, our industry really has come a long ways with, just the diverse industry technology advancements. It's not just solely focused, I feel like, on farming anymore. Like you said, there are a lot of, ranching technologies out there and even feedlot technologies. So
Yeah,
it
I
really is branching out.
Yeah, I agree. There is probably really exciting. I am not super familiar with the feedlot, portion,
Mhm.
but I bet there is some really exciting advancements going on in there too.
Sure. And do you feel like there's other technological advancements that are needed to further enhance and revolutionize your business? What are still the gaps that you feel like you could use on your operation?
Yeah, I think that we're pretty comfortable right now, I guess speaking specifically for our operation. We have been it kind of diving more into as we've been starting up our bull sale. It has been fun to kind of get into like the live auction. And, we actually used to host our bull sale online too. So it is fun to see how that portion has kind of advanced like the registered business for the industry. You can think about like, you used to have to go to a bull sale, right, in person. And now you
Mhm.
can watch and you can bid online and you can view the cattle and you can take, videos beforehand now and post them on YouTube. And so I think it has been exciting for like the registered sector to see technology advance that way. As far as like the cow calf side, I know one thing that like my husband and I will like chat, on and off about when we're out, in the Ranger or the tractor or something. It's always been like, what will like nationwide tracking or like animal ID look like for the future of the cow calf industry? I think that that probably has obviously a lot of work to do because I'm not sure we're really close to like finding something that works 100% of the time. And I think that's actually really big when you think about like technology in the agriculture industry is like we need it, there's so many variables like with weather and you're like sometimes you're out shoot side in like the middle of a snowstorm and there's just like I think maybe barriers that can kind of add to like the complication of some of the advancements. And so I do think it'll be interesting to see like how much more efficient we could be if we ever get to the place that like animal IDs is like an standard go-to like practice or commonality on some of our operations.
Yeah, absolutely. And with like the sustainability push that you see in our industry too, and traceability and all of that, I think, that could really come into play there for sure. So, suppose someone is introducing a new technology to your organization, what advice would you offer them?
I would offer them the marketing advice, which I don't know if this is advice everyone would give, but I do think in our industry, you kind of have to, sometimes we're built on the foundation of what has worked, right? Or maybe like heritage or continuing legacy, like that train of thought. And sometimes we're like probably built on that foundation a little too much, a lot of people would argue. So for better or worse, I think you have to be strategic and intentional about how you are implementing and introducing a lot of these new technologies. It is interesting, again, from the agriculture industry, you're working with a generational industry, which isn't, super typical of a lot of other, jobs. And so you have multiple people that usually have to come together to make an informed decision for, one business, which, that's not much different than like CEOs gathering at a table, right? But I do think it's unique that you usually have people from different generations that are making those decisions together. And one of my, like quotes, hills that I'll die on is that like ag doesn't have a product problem. We have a marketing problem. Like that is
Mhm.
just an area for us that we struggle in. And so I think that if you're going to be introducing, new technology, I would make sure you're marketing it right to the industry. And then like kind of like I touched on before, like, focus on some of those like user friendly aspects, like simple and reliable, I think is what like farmers and ranchers are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of goes into my next question a little bit. You kind of uncovered it a bit, but with the rapid pace of technological change, what talent needs are being exposed? Marketing could be one of them, but is there others that you see as a producer?
Yeah, I actually struggle with this question a little bit. I think that at the basis of what will always be needed in the industry is just people who want to like work hard and be involved. And so I think that will always overrule maybe some of those like technological changes or like the talent needs that are exposed from that. So I guess I don't when it comes to our operation, I guess I don't know if I've seen anything like specific that I could share that's, something we have seen firsthand.
Sure. No, that makes complete sense. And just to kind of throw in one last fun question, what is one piece of technology you couldn't go without in your day to day?
Yeah, it'd be so interesting. I would love to hear what other farmers and ranchers actually responded to this question. I'm so curious. When I thought about it, I really honed it down to probably just our phone. I mean, we do so much communication. I mean, any farmer ranchers listening to this knows like if you like farmers on a phone is a real thing. If you are out with a farmer, whether it is off the ranch or on the ranch or wherever you're going, they are usually on the phone, talking to someone. Like just the mode of communication is, I feel like, relentless as a farmer and rancher. My husband is constantly checking the markets on the phone, like emails, and just I feel like there's so much they can do now, and I feel like it's so maybe more important for the ag industry than a lot of other industries, just because they're not in the office in front of the computer, right? Like that's not how you run a farm and or a ranch. Like it's out in the field, it's in the tractor, it's in the ranger, it's on horseback, and so being able to do those tasks that you used to have to sit down in front of a computer to do, but can now do like out in the saddle or, in the truck, I feel like really does change how much a farmer and rancher can do in a day. And it really allows, I have a lot of conversations with my husband about, like being a true CEO of the operation and like running some of those like roles that are, more office work, quote unquote. And so I do think it allows farmers and ranchers to kind of wear both hats maybe a little bit more fluidly. And I think that's really big for the industry too, is because sometimes, we can get caught up in like fixing fence or doing what needs to be done to the day-to-day operation. And you can kind of shove to side those like computer responsibilities. But now, like if you're able to check your email and respond, or, like watch an auction sale or like whatever it is, if you're able to do that from your phone wherever you are, I just think it really has changed the landscape for a farmer or rancher.
Yeah, I agree. And there's so many more resources at our fingertips, for our businesses than ever were before. So that's been really cool to see. Like my husband, for example, utilize different auction sites and, apps to buy equipment and, what have you. So there's a lot of cool technology just on our phones. But I think an opportunity is definitely, a better internet connection, just better cell coverage out there in these rural areas. That's definitely, you know, an opportunity for sure that our industry needs in some areas for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I do think there's like some tension and awareness around this. I know that like rural broadband is getting pushed in a lot of different areas. I think it's maybe even coming up in the farm bill, if I'm not incorrect on that. So hopefully we will see, because like you said, I do think technology is becoming pretty integral to run your business. And in rural America, there's a lot of small businesses that are going to rely on that. And sometimes it depends on how good or bad you do your job. And so, to know that there's that like variable that's out of our hand is a little bit frustrating. So if we go to record a podcast or whatever it is, it would be nice to have that same reliability that someone from the heart of the urban city has, as well.
Yes, absolutely. Well, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you again, Natalie, for joining us and sharing your insights. And if listeners would like to get in touch with you or follow you, how can they find you?
Yeah. So if you're tuning into this, you're probably a podcast person. So if you are interested in my podcast, it's called Discover Ag. It is every Thursday. And basically, what we do is we break down the top 3 trending headlines in the ag and food space, and we kind of cover them. I have a co-host, and so it's like 2 millennial, female farmers who are giving our perspective on the latest in the food industry. And then also, you can find us at our website, our ranch. It is kovarikcattleco.com.
Perfect. Well, we invite listeners to tune into our other podcasts from our Industry Uncovered series. Again, I'm Kacey Toews with Charles Aris Executive Search, and you can find us on the web at charlesaris.com. Thanks.